everyone, and welcome to today's Drama Hospital recap. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos or recaps. So the month and review is ready, and it's going to go up tonight. Me and my mom did a vlog over the weekend, so I had to get that up first so I could delete that footage so I would have enough room to film the month in review. And that vlog is also up. It's Pokemon Go. It's pretty fun. It's going to be a weekly thing we're going to do, so if you want to go check that out when you're done here right now, depending on how you're feeling. But let's get to today's Drama Hospital, because I know we were all like waiting for this Monday, and it did not disappoint, although it got pretty dark, so let's get to it. So at Sunny's, Jason can tell Sunny's distracted, and he asks what's going on, and what happened with Nell comes up, and he says, whatever, he doesn't remember, and Jason's like, well, what's next? I think you should tell Carly, and Sunny's like, no, this filter makes me look like I have one good eyebrow and one bad eyebrow, but I swear they're the same, but we'll just do this. So I can't read like this. So he thinks that Sunny thinks that he and Carly are just getting above water now, and Jason thinks that they can come back from this Nell thing. They just need to address it and get through it. And Sunny barely understands what happened to himself, so he doesn't really want to involve Carly in this, and he just really doesn't want to involve Carly in this, period. And he thinks there would be no coming back for them. So Jason's like, well, what if Nell tells her? And Sunny's like, well, Nell thinks it was a mistake too. And then Sunny's like, I don't want any lies between us, but, and that's, why even say the beginning of that sentence then, huh? And Jason says the truth's going to come out whether he wants to or not, so it's really better to get ahead of it. At the gala, or gala, whatever you call it, Tom Baker is somehow gained entrance there. It's in the Metro Court, like in the, I don't know, the dining room, so like the bars there. It's what we're used to seeing, but don't know why he'd be there if there's like an exclusive event being held, but whatever. And so he runs into Nell, and he tells her he's a photographer, and he'd love to take pictures of her, and she's like, yeah, not gonna happen. And he's like, what? And she's like, get out before I have to call security, before I scream for security, because no. So then Kiki calls Tom, and she asks about the modeling offer. Her and Franco are in cahoots, so Franco's there with Kiki. Kiki is in his studio, and it looks like so you know how I like to look way too far into things? I'm going to do it right now. Ready? Okay. So Franco has the yellow smiley face mug, and it's probably just a coincidence because I'm ridiculous. But the smiley face, like the yellow smiley face, for anyone who's seen Watchmen, was the comedian's kind of symbol, and he was an anti-hero, superhero, pretty much one of the, from what I understand, one of the most like anti-heroes there was. So this kind of seems to be what Franco's attempting, this whole anti-hero superhero kind of thing. And also, just a fun fact, Jeffrey Dean Morgan played the comedian in Watchmen, and he currently plays Negan, which I'm behind on, so no spoilers. So Tom wants Kiki to come to his place, and she lures him to her place, or her friend's studio, who's a painter, which, ding, 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 Tom Baker, why are you not putting two and two together? But whatever, I'm not going to even pretend to get into that mime. So he's on his way. So Michael comes into the gala. Nell feels out of place. Everyone is dressed black tie, and she's dressed festive, but like a little black dress festive. Not like she's in like a red, like it's not like she's in an overly festive thing. She's just in like a black dress, cocktail like dress. So anyway, so she's gonna leave, and Michael runs off and says he'll be right back. So she's, I don't know, kind of like, time's up, Michael, but he comes back, and he's ridiculously dressed down. He's in a Hawaiian shirt under like, the jacket, and apparently flip-flops, and Tracy apparently wasn't happy, but we don't see her. So everyone there seems to be super stuck up, and it doesn't seem to be like a lot of fun, because we heard from two different people how not fun the crowd is. And they're not too thrilled with Michael, or at least the person who got hit in the head with Michael's flip-flop isn't too happy with him. And as was brought up in this house, he really didn't need to change his shoes, because as we learned from one of my favorite movies, The Shawshank Redemption, nobody looks at a man's shoes. Hey! If you haven't seen that movie, literally watch it now. Like, stop this video and go watch it. No excuses. So anyway, Now brings up the kidney thing. It gets brought up very awkwardly, and Michael asks if part of her resents them for this whole thing. So she's like, I only have one life, and, that whole thing, that life has brought me here, and I'm glad to be here, so whoop-de-freaking-do. At Franco's studio, Franco promised Kiki there will be no violence tonight, and she's going to stay and make sure. But then Dillon calls Kiki and asks her to come over to Crimson. She says yes, and Kiki makes Franco promise he won't get violent. So Tom Baker gets there, and he's greeted with like a creepy, almost zombified painting of Franco. And then Franco grabs him and brings him to the floor, and kind of reminded me of To Catch a Predator. I mean, Chris Hansen never took people to the floor, but still, just the whole like, hello, is there any iced tea here? He didn't say that, but that's what he said in my head. Anyway, so Tom Baker is out like a light, and now I feel like I'm watching Dexter. And then it got even more Dexter-y, and I was like, there's a reason I took another break from Dexter, okay? So Franco put him in like a big dog crate, and like he's drawing him, and like this is just so dark, and even like sprays him with a spray bottle, and like I don't know, that's like I'm like,
and he's wearing a shock collar.
Yeah, I was gonna say that to the end, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry.
I feel very not good just about this whole thing in general. I don't know. Hospital. So at Crimson, Nina is riding high from her whole rebelling against everyone and dating Valentine, and Dillon could literally care less about what she's talking about, and she lets him know that she slept with someone. So Nina feels everyone is jumping to conclusions about Valentine, and, Dillon's like, yeah, I'm sorry, because he had said something, like, oh, really him? But, isn't she exhausted of constantly defending him? And he poses a hypothetical, like, if he was with a girl that he constantly had to defend, at what point is it like, oh, I don't really like her, I just don't want to admit I'm wrong, So I feel like we can apply this to everyday life. And she feels that, if you're exhausted from defending someone, then, like, that's not really, like, she doesn't say loyalty, but, like, that's kind of the gist of it. So then, blah, blah, blah. Turns out Nina needs an assistant, and Dillon has someone in mind. So Kiki arrives, this is when he calls her, and Dillon gives her the 411, and Nina says that she doesn't need an answer about the job right now. It's a lot to think about, plus Nina didn't know Kiki was the one he was going to call. And then Nina has to run an errand anyway, so it's like, think about it. And Kiki tells Dillon no. So, maybe they'd be together too much, and, Dillon says, no, I mean, you need a job. This would be a steady income. I'm just thinking of you. And then he kind of gets mad that she's looking for ulterior motives on his part, like he just wants her around, and maybe she should be looking within herself because she's punishing herself by avoiding him because she chose him over Morgan, and she slaps him. So this is like the second really like soap opera slap we've gotten in like a week. So yeah, so she immediately says she's sorry, but he's mad and he storms out, and Nina is like, let him go, and Kiki doesn't understand why their argument spiraled like that, and Nina's like, because he's crazy about you. Like, of course it did. So at General Hospital, Elizabeth calls Jeff again. He doesn't seem too keen to talk to Hayden, and Griffin asks if she'd like to talk. So she says that she's not a victim, and she doesn't need anyone fighting her battles for her and stuff like that. So in New York City, Lulu is Charlotte's mother. I know, let that sink in real fast. And Dante attacks Valentine, and I don't blame him. So Valentine says that he's just as much a victim. He was used by the same person, Helena. So basically, Stavros couldn't father a child, and Helena wanted a baby she could pass off as Stavros's. So she recruited Daphne to get a sample from Valentine, and he was drugged, but, what about Claudette? How does Claudette figure into all this? So he stole the embryo before Helena could use it, because he wanted to be with his child. So he wanted to also save Lulu from this because of everything bad because of everything that Stavros and Helena did to her. And he recruited Claudette to act as a surrogate. But then Claudette, according to him, took advantage of his legal problems and took Charlotte to protect her. But, you know, now Lulu is free to be with Charlotte now that she knows. And he does seem to get emotional, whether that's like, you know, genuine or not, I don't know. And then he leaves. And now end scene. So Nina talks with Kiki about grief and about moving on, and she's thinking of Valentine, but Kiki thinks she's talking about Dillon. And Kiki says, but what if the time the grieving is done, he's gone? So at the gala, Valerie, a recently single Valerie, sees Dillon. She's doing a favor for Jordan by being there and making an appearance. Children, what are we doing? And Dillon asks her if they want to get out of there because it's super boring. And she's like, yeah. And she's wearing this gorgeous red dress up. So Valentine calls Nina and asks her out for a drink as soon as he gets back from New York. Dante says they'll put Valentine away. What's been done to Lulu's criminal. And Lulu is thrilled that she has a daughter. But then reality starts to dawn on her that she's missed out on so much time with her. And she feels that she has to play along with this game, but she will win this game, and she's intent on it. Nell thinks of that letter again, the whole "you owe me" from your father, and she's not used to the winter up here, and also she'll never forget why she's in Port Charles. And Michael comes back out, and she isn't there. Oh, they're on like the balcony thing, you know, where everything happens. Yeah. Sunny is intent on all of this staying secret. Elizabeth is going to go see Franco, and she feels her life is better with him in it. And Franco has, as previously mentioned, like a shock collar on Tom. And like, this is like really sick. I'm not going to lie. Like, has daytime ever been this dark? And like, I don't know. I feel very poorly. Not that I sympathize or empathize or like Tom Baker in any way, because don't get me wrong, I absolutely don't. But like, it's not about him. It's about Franco, to be quite honest with you. And like, but in any event, thank you for watching today's recap. And also, I meant to mention this like a week ago and I kept forgetting, but the Prospect Park lawsuit is done, and the One Life to Live characters could potentially come back to Port Charles. And obviously Kristen Arlison has moved on. We still have Michael Easton, and I like him where he is, keep him here, but Roger Howarth as Franco, I know we've all been super conflicted because we like him, but we don't like Franco, but like, you know, trying to give him, I know, the girls, they're just playing. But would you like to see him come back as Todd? Because yes, I love Todd, and yeah, there wouldn't be a star there, but like, I don't know, I really liked him on the show. And you know, Todd Manning seems like the kind of person, from the little I know, that, you know, coming back to a city away from, you know, they can make it work. They made it work before, so I'd love to see that happen, because I think they've really done all they can do with Franco, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, okay. I think that's all. I'll be done rambling, but I will see you tomorrow, potentially tonight again, for the week in the month of review, and I will see you then, and I hope you have a great day.